Deep in the silent void between star systems, something screamed. It was not a sound made of air. It was a signal, raw, broken, and desperate. An alien SOS burst into the dark, bouncing through gravity wells and dead stars, repeating again and again like a dying heartbeat. Most civilizations would never hear it. Most would ignore it even if they did. But humanity was different. The signal reached the edge of human-controlled space, slipping into long-range sensors aboard a massive patrol station near the Orion Drift. At first, the system flagged it as noise, radiation interference, maybe an old probe. Then the pattern repeated. Again. And again. Lieutenant Mara Cade stared at the screen, her jaw tight. The signal was old, but not dead. Whoever sent it was still alive, or very close to dying. Source confirmed, the AI said calmly. Non-human origin. Distance 8 light-years. Signal strength increasing. That was impossible. Signals did not grow stronger unless something terrible was happening. Within minutes, the data was encrypted and sent deeper into human space. Within hours, it reached the ears of people who never ignored a cry for help. The Deathworlder Fleet Command. Humanity had earned that name the hard way. They came from a brutal planet, high gravity, violent weather, endless predators. What did not kill them made them stronger. What tried to scare them usually failed. And what threatened the weak? That made them angry. Admiral Rakeem Salas stood on the command deck of the flagship Iron Judgment, staring at the holographic projection of the signal. Around him, officers waited in tense silence. Translate what we can, Salas ordered. The AI worked fast, breaking down fragments of alien language. The message was damaged, looping, full of fear. Fleet destroyed. They are hunting us. Anyone, please? Then one final line repeated more than the rest. We did not know humans were real. The room went quiet. That single sentence changed everything. Someone out there had believed humanity was a myth. A rumor told to scare young species. A legend of monsters born on a death world who answered distress calls with warships. Admiral Salas slowly closed his fist. Location? He asked. The AI displayed a burning system, wrecked planets, shattered stations, and energy scars left by powerful weapons. Whoever attacked had not come to conquer. They came to erase. Signal sender is hiding, the AI continued. Small fleet. Civilian class. Minimal weapons. In other words, prey. Salas turned to his officers. His voice was calm but deadly. Wake the fleet, he said. All of it. Outside the viewport, massive human warships began to move. Engines ignited like stars being born. Fighters armed. Cannons charged. Far away in the dark, the alien survivors waited, believing no one was coming. They were wrong. The echo in the void had been heard. And the Deathworlders were on their way. The alien distress signal did not fade. It kept repeating, bouncing through the void like a wounded cry that refused to die. Every cycle carried fear, panic, and desperation so deep that even human translators felt uneasy listening to it. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship Iron Resolve. The stars outside twisted as the fleet slowed from warp. The signal's origin was now clear, a broken system marked as abandoned in ancient galactic charts. Abandoned did not mean empty. Sensors lit up with wreckage. Dozens of alien ships floated in silence, torn apart by weapons far stronger than pirates. Some hulls were melted. Others looked crushed as if space itself had squeezed them. These aren't battle remains, a tactical officer said quietly. This was a slaughter. The alien species behind the signal, called the Threll, had once been proud traders. They avoided war. They paid protection fees. They followed rules. None of that saved them. As the human fleet advanced, they detected movement on a dying orbital station. Life signs were weak but real. Small. Fragile. The Threll had not escaped the attackers. They had escaped worse. Inside the station, flickering lights revealed hollow corridors. Alien markings were scratched into walls, warnings written in blood-colored paste. Human marines moved carefully, weapons ready. They found survivors hiding inside sealed chambers. Thin bodies. Shaking limbs. Wide eyes filled with terror. When the translator activated, the truth spilled out. The Threll had been hunted by a force known only as the Void Reapers, ancient machines that erased civilizations that grew too loud in the galaxy. No treaties. No mercy. Just extinction. The Reapers had already destroyed 5 systems. This one was next. The Threll tried to flee. Their engines failed. Their weapons did nothing. Their calls for help were ignored by every species that heard them. Except one. They are still coming, the Thrall leader said, voice breaking. You should leave. They cannot be fought. Admiral Kane listened in silence. Then he looked at the burning planet below, a death world by human standards. Volcanic storms. Crushing gravity. Radiation clouds. A place humans could survive. A place the Reapers had avoided. They didn't escape the Reapers, Kane said. They escaped into a trap the Reapers won't enter. The truth became clear. The enemy feared environments that could break weaker life forms. They feared chaos. They feared risk. They feared Deathworlders. Kane gave the order. All ships, form defensive perimeter. Wake the heavy guns. The Thrall thought they were running from death. They did not know they had run into humanity's shadow. And humanity was done running. The galaxy had many powerful species, but none were feared like humans. Long before the Deathworlder fleet answered the alien SOS, stories about humans spread across star systems like a warning. Traders whispered about them in low voices. Military leaders studied them with fear. Ancient empires avoided their space whenever possible. Humans came from a world that tried to kill them every day. Their planet had crushing gravity, violent storms, deadly animals, and constant natural disasters. Where other species evolved to survive peace, humans evolved to survive chaos. Pain did not stop them. Loss did not break them. Fear only made them stronger. Admiral Kane knew this history well. As the fleet moved closer to the source of the SOS, his bridge remained calm. Human crews worked in silence, checking weapons, shields, and engines. No panic. No hesitation. They were ready for war, even before knowing who the enemy was. The alien ships watching from deep space felt dread. They scanned the human fleet and saw something wrong. The ships were not built for beauty or elegance. They were built for survival. Thick armor. Redundant systems. Massive weapons that looked excessive, even wasteful. But humans believed one thing deeply. If something can go wrong, it will. And so they prepared for everything. Centuries ago, humans were invited into the galactic community as weak newcomers. Other species thought they could be controlled or used. Some tried to threaten them. Others tried to attack their colonies. Those species no longer existed. Humans did not fight fair. They learned fast. They adapted faster. If an enemy used energy weapons, humans developed armor. If enemies used stealth, humans flooded space with sensors. If enemies destroyed human ships, humans built bigger fleets. They never stopped. Back near the SOS location, alien survivors watched as the human fleet formed a defensive wall around them. The Deathworlders placed themselves between the aliens and the darkness beyond. That alone shocked the galaxy. Humans protected strangers without knowing the cost. Then came the signal intercept. The enemy finally revealed itself. A massive ancient force that had hunted civilizations for thousands of years. It fed on fear. It erased entire species. Even the strongest empires had fallen to it. The aliens expected humans to retreat. Instead, Admiral Kane gave a simple order. All ships, he said calmly, prepare for full engagement. No speeches. No hesitation. Human weapons powered up, lighting space like a rising sun. The fleet advanced toward an enemy that had never been challenged before. Across the galaxy, observers realized the truth too late. Humans were not feared because they were cruel. They were feared because once they decided to fight, they never stopped. The battle was over. Silence returned to the stars around Velker 9, but it was not peaceful silence. Wreckage floated everywhere, broken alien ships, drifting armor plates, and fading energy fires. The void was filled with the remains of those who had hunted the weak. The human fleet did not celebrate. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship Iron Resolve, watching the battlefield through the wide viewport. His face was calm, but his eyes were heavy. Humans had won, but victory was never free. Below them, the alien survivors watched in fear. The species that had sent the SOS, small, fragile beings known as the Ilthri, had survived. Their cities were damaged, their sky burned, but they were alive. For the first time since the invasion began, they looked up and saw ships that did not bring death. They saw humans. A transmission request came from the Ilthri Council. Admiral Kane allowed it. The alien leaders appeared on the screen. They were thin, shaking, their eyes wide with disbelief. Their speaker struggled to find words. You heard us, the Ilthri said. Across the void. Across impossible distance. Yes, Kane replied simply. You asked for help. The Ilthri bowed low, a gesture of pure gratitude. The galaxy told us no one would come. They said the Deathworlders only care for themselves. Kane looked away for a moment, then spoke again. They were wrong. The human fleet began relief operations immediately. Medical ships descended. Food, water, and power units followed. Human engineers worked side by side with alien survivors, not as rulers but as protectors. But humanity was not done. Admiral Kane ordered a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every major system, every known relay, every listening ear would hear it. The message was short. "This is the human fleet," Kane said, his voice steady and clear. An SOS was sent. We answered. Pause. "To those who hunt the weak, who burn worlds for profit or pride, know this." The image shifted. Footage of the destroyed Predator armada filled the screen. Massive warships torn apart. Fleets erased. "Humans do not seek war," Kane continued. "But we do not ignore suffering. We do not abandon cries for help." Another pause. "If you prey on the helpless, one day you will hear us coming." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, leaders sat in silence. Ancient empires reconsidered old plans. Raiders powered down weapons. Even the strongest civilizations felt something new. Fear and respect. Among the stars the story spread fast. The tale of how an alien SOS echoed through the void. How Deathworlders heard it. And how humanity proved that their greatest weapon was not their strength, their ships, or their rage, but their choice to answer the call. The echo never faded. It became a warning. And a promise.